Come join us for the Tactical Insight Show right here on AFTV, where we break down the 4-1 win against Leeds.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at how Arsenal did break down a very resilient Leeds team on Saturday. We'll also be looking at the two key midfielders in the two teams battling for the Premier League this season, Martin Odegaard and De Bruyne. Some interesting stats there. There'll be a few Tottenham stats thrown in inevitably, and also the wonderful performance of Gabriel Jesus. Look out for the way we break down his performance.
Come join us.
How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to AFTV Live. Hope you're all good, hope you're all well. I'm with Cecil.
What's going on, Turkish? What's going on?
What are you saying, my bro?
I'm alright, man. What are we, Tuesday today? Liverpool on the weekend. I know you lot are travelling up there this week, do some previews, which will be exciting. Get a little trip to Anfield outside, get the kind of the feeling, get your previews in. But I'm feeling alright, you know. I keep saying this to people. People always say to me like, oh, are we going to do it and how you feel? And I'm always like, listen, if Arsenal doing well, I'm doing well. And right now we are. There might be a few things we're going to discuss in this live that, you know, might chip away at some confidence, but there also might be some positives to certain things that we discussed tonight. And we're going to look at all angles. But right now, that's good. It's Tuesday. It gets a bit more touch and go towards the weekend. Right now, it's enjoy it off the back of the win against Leeds. Everything's all right now. But yeah, we'll get into today's show. There's a lot to go through.
The balance of today's show, I mean, yes, there's some causes for concern, but I think there's causes for optimism too. And you know, coming off the back of the 4-1 win, our second 4-1 win in a row, off the back of Manchester City dominating Liverpool, I think we've hit the ground running after the last international break. And we've got to look forward now. We've got to look forward to Anfield. But you know, Leeds was only a couple of days ago. Big up James and big up Graham for Tactical Insight. That's Lee Judge's favourite show, by the way.
That's his favourite?
His favourite show.
Mad. I would never would imagine that, you know, that he likes the tactics, the breakdowns. He does always mention, I always hear him and pass him with James.
He's always on about Tactical on Forever Arsenal. So I don't know if he wants to be a part of that rather than Forever, but
yeah, imagine Lee and James, Tactical Insight. I mean, that could work.
That show can't work without Graham.
True.
That show can't work without Graham.
True. Or maybe a triple act, Graham, Lee and James.
maybe. I'll ask Lee how he feels about that one. We'll see. But make sure you guys check out Tactical Insight, people. It's already out now. Forever Arsenal has been recorded. That's out tomorrow morning. I think at 8 a.m. No, definitely at 8 a.m. So make sure you subscribe, notification bell on, and you'll know exactly when that comes out.
100%. Before we get...
look, Akash even asked about Forever Arsenal. I didn't even see that till now.
Oh, raw. Let me ask you how you feel now. How's everything, you know, it's the after the weekend. Listen, a lot of big teams dropped points. It was quite enjoyable. We picked up points, but...
There's only two big teams in the Prem right now. We're clear.
I hear it.
Us and Manchester City are clear.
I'm saying in history, well, not even history senses, but you know what I mean. It's the big clubs.
Yeah.
But they drop points. It was nice to see.
There's big clubs and there's big dogs.
Oh, okay. So where do we stand?
With the big dogs. Us and Manchester City.
Woof.
The bark's got to be louder than that for saying big dogs. That sounds like, I don't know, a chihuahua.
Yeah, but I can't be fucking on live stream to the man there. But I hear it. We are definitely this season, two big dogs in the race for the title. It is getting down to the business end. It is crunch time. I don't know. I always question this. For me, it's the business end. It's the squeaky bum time and all that. But is it like the last 9 games? We're in single figure digits towards the running. Would you call it, or would you say? Because some people say not until after restart. Some people say, you know, the last 5. But for me, this is the running, no?
Yeah, this is the running. 100%.
Yeah, okay,
9 games to go. 27 points up for grabs.
Yeah, it's different when you say
Anfield,
that.
Etihad, St James Park, 3 checkpoints. I said that in international break, and one of the checkpoints are coming up this weekend. So this live, people, is going to be heavily orientated around the Liverpool game. There's something about William Saliba trending on Twitter and the internet. I want to touch in on Benjamin White as well. Post-match press conference on Arteta, he mentioned a couple of things regarding him. And then I want to get into the Liverpool game. The referee's been announced. I want to not necessarily but go through our last 10 fixtures at Anfield, and it doesn't read well. But there's also quotes from Mikel, there's quotes from Granit Xhaka, there's quotes from Gary Neville where there's causes for optimism too. So we're going to get into it. We're going to start with William Saliba, who's the hot topic on the internet today.
Yep.
Reports indicate that Arsenal will be without William Saliba for Sunday's match at Liverpool. The Frenchman has still been unavailable to train since suffering a back injury before the international break. Now, these reports there's no strong source behind these reports.
Yeah, facts.
There's no quotes behind these reports. There's no pictures from training that I've seen that doesn't include Saliba yet. Maybe I've missed that on Twitter or on the Arsenal website. So this news has pretty much come out of nowhere from the tabloids, and in my opinion, with tabloids, you take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, agreed.
You take it with a pinch of salt, but Saliba would be a massive loss for us against Liverpool.
Yeah, no, he would, Turkish. I'll be intrigued to hear what the chat are saying, the people listening as well. It'd be nice to get a poll in the chat and how they feel. Is it a no, like a loss without Saliba, yes or no, or people still confident? Because you got to give Rob Holding his flowers in the past 2 games, Leeds and Palace. He's been good. He's been very good. I mentioned it on the Matchday Live. Me and you spent a lot of time doing the watch along, and I never ever had to mention Rob Holding defensive areas. I know some people might pick at one little thing, but I think people are overly critical because it's Rob Holding. You need to remember, they're defenders. Like, they're not going to have 100% perfect games. There's always going to be one small mistake, and I think we over-analyse players, especially when you're used to seeing William Saliba. You're going to over-analyse a player like Rob Holding coming in, but he's been good. And I know there'll be an argument for some people saying, look, it's a different kettle of fish. It's Liverpool. It's the City aways. It's the Newcastle Uniteds. We've only played, the Palaces and Leeds with him in there. But for me, if Saliba's out, he's out. I think this is what it is. We had to deal with it last season. It didn't go with the way we wanted. I actually had some of the fixtures which we'll go through in this live at some point of when Rob Holding stepped in last season. We didn't get top 4 in the end, but there's nothing we can do. And for me, I love William Saliba. He's been superb this season. He's going to be a great miss. Rob Holding is not William Saliba. Let me make that clear. We fully understand that. There will be a slight drop. That's the same with when Jorginho steps in for Thomas Partey. Jorginho, in my opinion, has done very well when Thomas Partey was out. But Jorginho is not Thomas Partey. So we'll feel the effects, in my opinion. But what more can we do? Like you said, we've heard the rumours. Nothing's been made concrete yet. So I don't want anyone to run away with this and think that's it, he's completely out come Sunday. But if he is, it is a worry. I'll be intrigued to know, obviously, if your thoughts on it as well. But yeah, I mean, if you have the right players around you, hopefully, we can get past these games. And the question I kind of want to end this statement I'm speaking on is would you rather a 50-60% Saliba or 100% fit Rob Holding against Liverpool?
It's a tough one because Saliba's injury is back. It's muscle related, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the risk off the bat, I'd like to say I'll take a 70-80% fit Saliba.
Yeah.
But the repercussions of such a decision, considering we still got Etihad, considering we still got St. James Park, we've only got 8 games after the Liverpool game to go. The repercussions could be more damaging than it's worth.
It's a great way to look at it,
if I'm honest. So, Arteta's going to have a big decision to make. One thing about Mikel is he gives players time to be ready. I mentioned, was it earlier today, on Forever Arsenal and on Twitter Spaces as well, that I just feel like with Gabriel Jesus, Arteta and the team really waited till they was 100% confident that he will return, he won't have a setback, and the minutes he gets will grow week in, week out.
I'll go further and say I reckon they made it 120% on Gabriel Jesus, because he came back super sharp. There was you've seen the documentaries, they saw him, he was probably training a lot earlier than we were first initially told. I actually believe they're doing the same for Eddie Nketiah right now. You saw the post, I showed you the post this morning of him in the gym doing this and him pulling. It seems like he's got bigger, it seems like he's got stronger. It seems like he's probably ready, but they're going to go that extra 20% to make sure you're more than just 100% fit, you're 120% fit. And I believe that's what they did with Gabriel Jesus. I believe that's what they're doing with Eddie Nketiah. Will they follow the same suit for William Saliba? You would think so. But
we ain't really got time to waste at the same time.
This is what's mad. That's the real dilemma. Like, yes, you want them to follow the same, initiative and what they've been doing, but do you have that time? You mentioned there, look, do you give him, if he's 80% fit, do you play him against Liverpool and then risk it? And then, you've got West Ham and Southampton, you've got another 2 weeks until you go to City away. Is that enough time for him to fully recover? We don't know. Obviously, we're not inside the ground, we're not inside the training ground, we don't know the time scales, but that is really the dynamic. Do you wait for him? Do you wait till he's 120%? Or do you say, you know what, we need that 80% Saliba in there. And it's a tough one.
It is a tough one. And I see some of the chat, one or two people mentioned this, it's smoke and mirrors. A couple of people have mentioned he needs surgery. Listen, at the end of the day, it's all with a pinch of salt. We don't know anything. Yeah. And even the news circulating today doesn't come from, in my opinion, a reputable source, a trustworthy source. So we're just talking about what's trending at the moment, what Arsenal fans are talking about most online. We even had a comment in here from Joshua, if I can find it quickly.
No worries.
I might have missed it.
No worries. You look for it while I'll do the super chats quickly. Abdullah with a super chat says he said he'll I think it means will Saliba will be assessed day by day. Still 5 days left. I'm sure no decision has been made. Surgery claim looks like they're rumours. Chill. Now let's hope that.
Chill, yeah. I mean, it's hard to chill when such an important player could be missing for such an important game. But at the same time, he's right chill in a sense where nothing's been confirmed until Arteta speaks about it. Just be patient. Yeah. Joshua, I found his comment. He said, Rob Holding has turned up when we've needed him this season. I think he deserves a bit more respect. And Joshua, I get you. And I agree with you. Rob Holding has, done a job since he's been back in the side. Obviously, Saliba started all 27 games in the Premier League leading up to the injury. And Rob Holding, having come on against Sporting, played against Palace, played against Leeds, he's done a good job.
Yes.
I think on one hand, people are overrating what he's done, because I don't feel like those teams really caused us enough problems throughout the games to say that defender was solid. But at the same time, I also see people underrating how he's come in and he's looked a lot more assured than he did last season, having come in against similar level teams.
At City in the Cup, he had a good game.
At City in the Cup, I think
he had a good game.
You know what?
That's opposition. That wasn't a joke.
But he got subbed at half time because he got a yellow card from Haaland, didn't it?
True.
I think he was a bit too over. I don't know what the word is.
Rash?
Overzealous, overexcited.
Overzealous.
I think against Haaland, it's always going to be a physical battle, and I think he just had that in his mind from the get-go, and he wanted to stamp his authority. But after the yellow card, I think Arteta looked at it and said, listen, we can't afford to go down to 10 men away from home against this club.
Like at Spurs last year.
Let's change it up. So it's not damning of Rob Holding, in my opinion. I think going physical against Haaland is the right thing to do. The yellow card was a silly yellow card in the way it happened. But overall, Holding, in his appearances for Arsenal this season, he's done an adequate job. But it's now Liverpool at Anfield. It's not Crystal Palace, it's not Leeds, it's not Sporting.
Does it feel like last season? I'm just going to take you guys down memory lane. Some of you may not want to go back there because end of last season wasn't the greatest. But after Man United, Ben White was out. We saw Rob Holding come in for Ben White. He scored against West Ham the game after that in the 2-1 win. And then we beat Leeds 2-1 as well. Eddie Nketiah got 2 goals there. But then I think everyone goes to this game. It was the 3-0 at
someone just said that literally someone literally in the chat said everyone goes to that Tottenham game.
Right. So everyone goes to that Tottenham game, the 3-0 loss obviously against them at their place, where Rob Holding got red carded. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those people. I put my hand up. I always say, yeah, but look what happened last season. But before that, he stepped in, done a job, we won games. But I suppose it was because it was so much pressure and it was crunch time around those last 5 games where, we got red carded there. Then we went to Newcastle and we lost 2-0, and that was a horrible game. I was there. It was awful. But obviously Rob Holding wasn't available for the red card. And then we went and beat Everton 5-1, where it just wasn't even though it was a 5-1 win, it didn't feel like nothing. We missed out on top 4. But people always go to that Tottenham 3-0. But he has stepped in. He stepped in this season and has done a good job. He has stepped in last season and done, in my opinion, an okay job. I'm not going to say a great job, but an okay job. He steadied the ship. He did what he needed to do. A bar that Tottenham one, but I think a lot of people always look at that. But this is what is long season, big squads. This is what it needs. And right now we don't have the depth there. If Saliba's not available, that is our option. I know people will start to do mental gymnastics and try and put Ben White centre back, put Zinchenko right back, put Tom and people start moving people around. But I think Arteta as well. If Saliba's not available, he will stick with Rob Holding and Gabriel.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah, I don't see him bringing in Kivio or anything.
I think part of Arteta's man management skills is giving certain players that have had chances before chances again.
Yep.
We've seen Xhaka's turn around this season, for example. We've seen Eddie given a new contract and chance this season to, build on his Arsenal career. And I think this is now Holding's chance. So we will see. Like I said, take it all with a pinch of salt. The only thing we do know is what Arteta said prior to the Leeds game, and I'm just going to read out that quote. On Saliba, Arteta said he is progressing. Unfortunately, he still has some discomfort in his back. We are trying to manage him in the best possible way. I'm very hopeful, and so is he as well. Back injuries are a bit tricky, and how they evolve with the load that you put in certain areas. He's very positive, and the medical staff are positive about it too. So that quote reads well.
It does read well.
But obviously, the reports out of nowhere today don't read as well. All I can say to Arsenal fans, you, myself, just be patient. Let's find out what it is. It's only Tuesday. The game's Sunday. There's adequate time for him to return and get a few days training in at least. I just look at it in a way where if Saliba plays, we can push up. We can play a higher line. If it's Rob Holding, I don't think, with the lack of pace in comparison to Saliba, we can do exactly what Arteta might want to do. But then again, it is Anfield. Maybe he does something a bit different. We have dominated pretty much 99%, 95% of our games this season. Is the aim to go there and do the same at Anfield, or is it to catch them out on maybe a counter? I don't know what the plan is, but we will see. We will see, I guess. Leading up to the game, Holding's had a good few performances that can build his confidence and hopefully see him through the game if Saliba's not available, with no mistakes, no silly goals conceded, and that doesn't just fall on him, that falls on the whole team as well. So we'll see.
All right, well listen, there's a poll in the chat, obviously it's still going. We're going to kind of round up here. It says, are you confident going to Anfield without Saliba? 64% of you said yes, and 36% of you said no. So people are confident regardless of Saliba or Rob Holding being in the side and the starting 11 who will be available. It's interesting because Anfield is an intimidating place. Don't get it twisted, Rob Holding's a good defender, but Anfield, we can't lie. I mean, if I just bring up an image of what was happening last season in training, we know how intimidating it is, and you can see the images of the speakers being brought out to the training session, and it does bode the question for me. Obviously, Arteta tried something there, and I laugh at that now, but who's really having the last laugh? Arteta is a genius in I guess the preparation he's done for many games of this season. So I'll give him his plaudits. But I'll be interested to know what the chat thinks, in a sense of how do you prepare for this? And you, Turkish, because no player's going to want to see in training this week the speakers coming back out and hearing "You'll never walk alone." That's especially when you've got likes of Zinchenko in there. You got Gabriel Jesus. They played against Anfield. You got Trossard in there, scored a hat trick at Anfield. He doesn't want to see that, but it is an intimidating place. We've got a young side. It'd be interesting to know how people would have the team prepare for this one, because our record, we're going to get to it later, is not good at Anfield. It really isn't, and
to say the least.
And it's a big one. We don't want to see no speakers, but it'd be interesting to see what people think along those lines. And interestingly, Rob Holding, he's not being thrown in the deep end if he plays, though. That's fair to say, isn't it? Because he's been part of the side. He's been part of the other side for so long.
In fact, to be honest, if he does play, this is a weird one, because if he does play, you just talked about our record at Anfield, yeah? No one knows our record at Anfield more so than Xhaka and Rob Holding.
Yeah, no one any, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of starting players potentially this Sunday. So I'd look at them to be that voice of reason. The voice, that
experience,
the experience, the leadership.
It's a good way to look at it.
Anfield's not an easy place to go. I guess Jesus, Zinchenko, they know that too, because Manchester City and Liverpool have been fighting it out over the years. Yes, City have won a lot more Premier Leagues than Liverpool have, but they've still been fighting it out. But in terms of our record, Holding and Xhaka know more than anyone else how difficult we found it there. So if I guess that's the positive of Rob Holding starting and Saliba's absent. So only time will tell. Take this news with a pinch of salt, and we'll see what's to come. I did mention Ben White at the start of the show as well.
We will get into it.
Super chat.
The super chat's quick. Abdullah, back with the super chat earlier. He said Holding versus Crystal Palace isn't a loss. Holding at Anfield is. He says. Zubair says unpopular opinion. Credit to Holding for real, getting sent off against Spurs last year. Had we got on top 4 this year, I believe he's put there, we wouldn't have been in the title race this year. So he's saying
he's moving mad. Man said credit to him for getting a red card because he thinks that
it would have affected us this season with Champions League football and whatnot. But yeah, I can't retweet.
I don't agree with that, Zubair, but I understand.
Thank you for the super chat.
Glass half full, but it wasn't.
Silver linings. They're trying to look at silver linings. For me,
half full for me.
Yeah, it's not a silver lining there. I feel like.
But that's history
regardless.
now. I mean, where we are now, chalk and cheese in comparison to where we've been over the last few years. So it's time to forget about those. We've, you know, we've killed off a lot of narratives this season against certain clubs in certain grounds, with the title challenge alone leading the race. So it's another narrative that we've got to try and turn around at Anfield on Sunday.
100%,
so,
100%.
You know, let's keep it moving. Like I said, I mentioned Benjamin White, not much on him, but I did. Well, we all know that he left the warm up early against Leeds. I was doing the watch along and leading up to kick off. A lot of people in the chat were saying Ben White's, you know, he's had to go in. He's not going to start the game anymore. He has a problem. Arteta did confirm this. He said he has some issues as well in the last few days, but he's a big fighter and he wanted to be here. Obviously, with the injury of Tomiyasu, we are short in that position, and he scored a goal as well, which is good news for him, and he was very good again. Now, the only reason I bring this in is because
it's interesting. Why do
we've been discussing a defensive loss already.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear about it anymore because we've already got Tomiyasu out, and it looks like Tomiyasu will be the season.
Yeah.
Saliba now, a lot of question marks over him. Let's be patient. Let's wait and see what comes out in the next couple of days. I don't want to be hearing any more injuries to any more of our key defenders. And Ben White, arguably, well, I say arguably, it's definitely arguably because every single one of our defenders has been quality this season. But arguably, he's been many people's favourite. He's one of my favourite players.
Yeah,
now,
you're a big Ben White fan.
Yeah,
big
because he just does his job.
And that's it, and then gets on with life.
No messing about. Does his job.
And that's it. Do you
know
what?
Goes home, he comes back, he does his job.
That's what it is. I thought when he listen, Turk, we do, you know, the show plan and whatnot. And I thought when you said you're gonna bring up Ben White is because you heard about when he got asked the question about did you watch Man City's results? He says, I don't watch football. I said
James mentioned that Forever Arsenal. I saw that on Twitter, but I just thought it was a meme. I thought people were joking.
Nah, bro. Ben White, do you know what? I didn't put him in my top 5, but that attitude is the coldest, and he doesn't care. He actually doesn't. He doesn't care. Yeah. Like, he doesn't care about the backlash. He doesn't care about any of that. That I got to give him ratings for. And you're right. He's one of those people that are just talented at football, and he just plays football. It's his job, and he can separate that from his own life and real life. So big him up.
Best in the world says it reminds me of Lauren, and that's exactly what Lee said on Forever Arsenal. Well, to be honest, Lee said he reminds me of Lauren. Yeah. But it's Lauren.
Did he actually say?
He said I was actually going to stop him. I was going to stop him. I laughed. So when you watch it back, you're going to see me laugh after he says he reminds me of Lauren. I just start laughing. Yeah, I was thinking, do you call Henri Henry? Like,
that's when, because you always pull me up on that. I'm like,
what's going on here?
But when I read it,
I let him off, man. I let him off. He's like Robbie. He's not that good with the.
But he has the T. Anyway, it has it on the end. I'm sure it has it on the end. Yeah, Lauren, it has it on the end. Their T does it not on his name. I'm sure it does. Why?
No.
I did not say it. I thought it had the T on the end. I thought it was.
No.
I pronounced that how I say.
You mean like Lauren Robert?
Yeah.
Nah, it doesn't have the T. It's just Lauren.
But
yeah, big up Lee. Like I said, Forever Arsenal is out tomorrow, 8 a.m. Set your reminders, notification bell on. You'll know exactly when. Listen, there's 2.1k in the building as well. Let's get to 1,000 likes. I don't know how many likes we're on, but at the end of the show, towards the end, I'm gonna check. Hopefully, we hit 1,000 or close to, if not 1,000. But on Ben White, I mean, so important for us, especially now with Saliba out as well.
Is our defense the most important part to our squad? So the reason why I'm saying this, in a sense that once there's a player missing, you worry more. As in, so if we go to the front line, Jesus has been out, so you can kind of argue like, I wasn't too fussed. We had Eddie come in, we've had Trossard come in. The midfield line, I suppose it is small. Martin Odegaard in there, you can put Xhaka in there, you can put Partey in there. But when it comes to the defence line, it feels like if Saliba's not there, when I speak to fans of, especially this week, they're like, oh, Anfield Sunday, sorry, but how's Saliba? When Ben White and Tomiyasu was out, I think people were kind of questioning that. If Zinchenko goes, yes, we have Tierney, but is that for you adequate enough replacement that you don't worry? If Gabriel goes out, I mean, throwing in Kivior I know this is hypothetical, so throwing him in the last 9 in a title race would be a madness. So is the defence line for you the biggest worry? Because people say Partey is the most important.
I grew up on defence wins titles.
Cool.
That term or that sentence,
yeah.
And it made a lot of sense. It still makes a lot of sense in a different way now. Defence wins titles back then was being rugged, being rough, being physical, putting your body on the line, head on the line, whatever you need to put on the line, you're putting it on the line to get a clean sheet, to get the win. Now, I think you can still say defense wins titles, but it's in a very different way. And even if you look at Arteta since coming in, majority of signings have been defensive based.
Yeah.
Ben White has come in, Ramsdale's come in. Obviously, Saliba returns and you go straight into first team. Gabriel's come in, Zinchenko's come in. Literally, the base had to be rebuilt, restructured. And Arteta, I think, even mentioned, is it recently or maybe in the last 6 to 12 months? I'm not too sure when, but it's about building the base first. When I say the spine, build the base. Now in football, it's not necessarily defense wins titles in the sense of put your body on the line, put everything on the line, be physical, be rough, be rugged, don't let your opponent in front. All of this, it's more building from the back. Good football starts from the defense now. Yeah,
that's 100% facts. And that's not I know it's defense, but it's not defending. It's playing into my philosophy and being able to defend, but being able to play out the back is so important for our attack. That's a difference there. But old sayings change, or like you said, they mean different things. You can't win anything with kids was a big one when I was growing up. You can't do that. That's what they used to say. Nowadays, people want to build the next best youth team under 21s and then bring them into first team and let them run the show. So things change, statements change, but defense, goals win you games, defenses win you titles is, I think, that it's still relevant, but like you mentioned, I think it's got a bit of a change to it now because nowadays, every position has different roles. It's not like it was back in the day. Defenders got to be good at ball playing. Fullbacks have to be good going forward as well as going back. Do you know what I mean? Same with some strikers. Nines have to be able to drop in and link up. Like every position has more than just one role now. So yeah, things are changing.
One day you should do and ask the fans, and the simple question: who's Arsenal's most important player? And I think you'll see it's such a variety of answers that it's hard to define what area of the pitch is most important. Some will say Zinchenko. Some will say Gabriel, some might say Saka, Partey, Odegaard, Jesus.
You know, we did it 2 years ago, two seasons ago, and every answer was different. Even then,
I
remember Leno. I remember someone said Leno, said Leno. There was everyone had different names, and I was baffed. I thought that'd be a consistent name that would pop up, but honestly, all different. And do you know what? Turkish, thank you. Good little one. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that in the figure. I'll take that one.
No worries.
Ideas,
charge
it.
Charge it.
Charge it to the game, my friend. A lot of you getting involved in the comments. I see a lot of super chats rolling in. I don't know if you wanted to.
Yeah, go through, and then we'll touch in on the Liverpool game a bit more and some quotes behind it.
100%. Is Ben just quickly? Ben White. No, your favorite player of this season is. Because you do like I know you mentioned Ben White a few times.
What? It's so hard to pick one favorite player. Obviously, Saka's my guy. The way he's just kicked on from his first appearance and the responsibility and the pressure and the targets and the improvements made. He's my guy. I love Martinelli too, top goal scorer, and I think Saka's development and star quality has kind of made Martinelli's development and star quality go under the radar. But I love Odegaard too. I love Jesus. Obviously, he hasn't played as many games as them. I love Partey.
I love hearing. Look at you.
Ben White,
look at you just
Saliba,
reeling. Look at
Gabriel, Zinchenko.
He's just reeling off names.
I like Ramsdale. I like Xhaka this season. I've named the whole 11 there. So for me to pick a favourite player, I'd lean towards Saka, but then I just think, but what about Martinelli? Or what about Saliba? Or what about Benjamin? What about Thomas? And all it's
mad, isn't it?
It's so difficult to pick a favourite player.
It's good that we have there's this feeling amongst us all here at Studio, and I'm sure all the fan base as well. I'll read some of the super chats, and I'm going to bring up some quotes as well in a second. Rich Terren says, Anfield is only intimidating once they score. Usually a library before that. Gabby has done the Saliba role, and Holding has done the Gabby role recently. Gabby has done a Saliba. Oh, so yeah, because they kind of swapped over. But yeah, and he is right in a sense. I know it will rattle a load of Liverpool fans, so I don't want to go too deep on it. But it is fairly quiet until something happens, a big moment in the game, whether it's a goal, whether it's Arteta getting angry at Klopp, whether it's a bad decision. You don't really hear that. It's not as loud as until those sort of things happen, in my personal opinion, of when I've been. But of history, it's a loud place. Anthony 2 1993 says, even if Saliba is fit, he won't have the match fitness. Holding's been solid. Him starting will keep the consistency instead of just a recovered Saliba, which I kind of mentioned. That's what we asked you when we said, would you go with a fully fit?
It's not like Saliba would have been out for months.
No, I think he jumps back in.
So I think match fitness is not necessarily the biggest issue if he is 80, 90, well, let's say 90 to 100% ready for the game. Yeah, I'd play him.
My honest opinion, if Saliba's fit, Arteta starts him. I think Rob Holding understands that. In my personal opinion,
he's already mentioned he's part of the squad. He's part of the team. So when called upon, he'll do as best a job as he can. Exactly that.
Waleed here with a super chat says, I asked Laurie and Guna Lee this question last time. I want to ask you guys this as well. What is the one Arsenal opinion you had that turned out to be an absolute howler? Arteta does not count. Ha ha ha.
That would have been it. That would have definitely been it.
Howler for me.
I know, if you ask Laurie, he'd probably say my opinions on Xhaka over the years. But my opinions on Xhaka were based on then. Now that Xhaka's turned it around and he's improved, my opinions on him have changed. Does that make me wrong for the previous years? I don't believe so. Maybe others can say, yeah, it's always been in him. That's cool. But I just didn't see it then. So I'm not going to call that a howler. When it comes to Arsenal,
even me now thinking about it. Listen, I toe the fence a lot. I think people are very aware of that. I play the middle ground at most times.
I got it. When we signed Ben White and Ramsdale, I was vexed.
You was on a mad thing.
Yeah, that's probably the howler for me.
You was on a. I think no, but what was you annoyed at? Because listen, we get this blurred. Because for me, there was price tags of like 60. Of like 30 to 40 million for Ramsdale. So I was always arguing about why are we paying so much for him, and I kind of went with that narrative instead of like I disregarded him as a goalkeeper, probably because I didn't know loads about him apart from being relegated. But I knew he won Player of the Season for many of these teams that he played for, so I didn't really go in on him as a player. But the price tag, Ben White, I know.
Ben White, I just thought, who the fuck is this guy? 50 million we're spending on him. Like, what's going on? Like, surely we go to Brighton and get Basuma. It was them times, but we went 50 million Ben White, and in the same summer, 26 rising to 30 for Ramsdale. With Ramsdale, I was vexed about it, but listen, as much as people would say he's been relegated 2-3 years in a row, I forgot what it was, he was also Player of the Season for 2-3 years in a row. So, there's give and take there. But just overall, it just felt like another summer of recruitment that's not really going to kick us on.
Makes sense, yeah.
But coming up to 2 years on, it is 2 years now, yeah? Yeah, 2 years on, two of the most important players we have in the team.
Do you know what? I think everyone behind their screens was waiting for you to say Cronkies. But it's not going to come yet.
No, that's not a howler.
Yeah, I know.
19 years.
I know your rebuttal. I know you have answers for it.
Don't get me started, because next time you see them, you'd have to have a word.
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna get me. I know. So like I said, I toe the line quite a bit, play presenter role quite a bit. So a lot of my things aren't coming on screen and slamming out howlers, but I have had some. I think one, and I actually still believe in this, which I'm trying to get rid of. I still think Lokonga's a very good player, and I think he will be a very good player. I think the Palace loan was good for him, but I believe there's a good player in there. People will probably disagree and say it might be a howler, but I believe he has got ability in there, and I would like to see him one day back at Arsenal. That was one. There was one howler that never made it on screen. Thomas Partey, yeah. I just never used to think he was all that. I'll be completely real. I thought he was overhyped. I thought people were giving him way too much justification for what he was doing. He was always injured. And I always spoke about availability as the best ability. But even on top of that, I used to watch him and think, you're not that good. Like, you misplaced passes, your shooting is woeful. And I never, keep it 100, Thomas. I never was brave enough to come online and go at you and say it. But that's a big howler for me, because I watch you now and think, blood. But that happened with Xhaka as well. But I think, boy, you're not doing as much as those things of like going, running off and taking shots and going farther up the field. You're in your position and you do your job unbelievably well. So I apologise, Thomas. I didn't know your abilities.
Who said, give me that kush? After you said Lokonga.
Yeah, no, that's one. I don't know. When we brought him in, I kind of understood it. I think he's got good quality. He's very relaxed, but I think he's got good ability in there. Maybe not Arsenal level, but I think he's a good player. I think people are giving him unfair criticism. But the Thomas Partey for me is probably the biggest one. I never really rated him, and I apologise. But that was it. That's a good little. I like that. That was a good question. Very good question. I want to get everyone's. I'd love to see Robbie's, because Robbie's always in the defence. I haven't got howlers.
Well, he's got howlers.
He's got mad howlers. I'm going to bring it up to him. Thank you for that one, Waleed. Zubair with a super chat says, I meant if we had gotten top 4, I don't believe we would have the same hunger and mentality that we have this season.
I get that because Zubair, I've said at various points this season that the pain that losing out on top 4 to them must have played some part in this season. And Arteta recently mentioned how, you know, the players came back from holiday wanting to, you know, rewrite their wrongs and being very focused. We was there pre-season in Orlando. We saw the beginning of what was to come and what we've seen this season. So I understand that. I just think when I'm looking at it now and the way it's been building, if we made top 4, I think we would still be headed in the right direction. We might not be leading the race now if we was in the Champions League, because we might be juggling games and, you know, with what was a thin squad going into the season, injuries, playing Champions League football, having to play a strong team midweek, weekend, and so on might have caused problems. I get that. So maybe you are right. I'd never want Arsenal, it's in the past, but I'd never want Arsenal to lose out on something with the hope and belief that it'll make us better. Yeah. I'm always here for now, because it's like saying
if we don't win the league this season.
It's like saying if we win the league next season, then someone could make a comment in May next season saying, thank God we finished second to Man City this season because we wouldn't have won the league. Now, I'm not worried about that now. I'm worried about this. Like last season, I was worried about the top 4 race because that's what we were in. So I get your point.
I hear it. But you know, you're right there. Like, we want to win the season this season, and that should motivate the boys to go and want to push far in the Champions League next season. You can look at it in different ways. Young Gunner with Super Chat says, I'd rather us have a strong defence, keep clean sheets to avoid leaking goals, and relying on our attack to bail us out. That let us down last season. We've spoke about defence already. Quite a bit.
Improved, yeah.
Has definitely improved. We've got one here from loads of super chats as well. Thank you. Sorry, Turkish. I know you've got our show plans to get through, but there's a lot of super chats we've got to get through.
It's about them as much as it is about us.
100%. Vibe I have, hopefully
Kyle, actually, that's a good one on the howler. Because at the beginning of the season, when I was in that super fan debate, I said Kulusevski has the edge on Saka. Now a lot of people are bringing that back up, but towards the end of last season, from January to May,
the impact.
I think Kulusevski did have the better 6 months. So if you're asking me at the end of that season, beginning of this season, I said Kulusevski has the edge, but I also said give it a year and let's have a debate about it. Okay. It's been nearly a year, and there's no debate to be had.
Not at all.
Because one has kicked on and improved no end, and one has been injured and inconsistent and is playing for a club that's in turmoil at the moment. A lot of people think your opinions can't change, but your opinions change on evidence. The evidence is one's dropped off, one's improved no end. So if you ask me now, I wouldn't even say Saka's got the edge. Saka's clear.
Gone. Yeah, clear. Gone. And that might haunt you.
But sorry, because it was a good point. That
was a good point. And that may haunt you in a few years to come. I doubt it, but you never know. Kulusevski might have a spike, but it's probably not going to happen.
He's a quality player too. Don't get twisted.
Yeah, he is. I remember the Saka-Foden debate, and I'm not saying Saka's clear for no way, but like, there was a whole debate about that a few seasons ago, a few seasons ago, and that caused up a whole debate and spark.
I think Saka's clear of Foden.
Vibe, I hope I pronounced that right, says with a super chat, the team will win us the game. We can stop focusing on individuals and stop worrying who's missing and back the team and get the win at mighty Anfield in ages. I mean, we're doing that. We're just looking at all the other angles as well around it and the conversations that are happening amongst Arsenal fan base. Waleed again with a super chat says, Laurie said that he wanted Jed Spence over Zinchenko. Oh, I didn't know that. Jed Spence I think he's a good player as well. I just didn't think that he just wasn't wanted at Spurs, but definitely not over Zinchenko. Gunnar Lee said that he didn't rate Monreal at the start. Is that what he went to? Sorry, Lee. No, Lee. If you're watching Gunnar Lee, you have way more howlers than that. About boy. I'm going to mess you after this. Is that what you went to? Monreal. Anyway, Elijah Reyes with the super chat says, promise not to watch forever until the dude calls Xhaka's name. Has he paid Granit respect yet? He don't, even when I speak to him about it. What?
No, he slipped up once or twice and said his name, but he still goes with he who I won't name.
It's outrageous.
Listen.
That's outrageous.
We're leading the title race. Let him continue saying that until the end. I don't care what Jordan's saying. I care about what we're doing.
Imagine if you did that. They'll be on you.
Of course, they're on me anyway.
Imagine if you did that.
They're on me anyway, so I'm just used to it. I think Jordan started liking the comment section being all about him. So hey, you've taken the heat off me. Be my guest.
Take your medicine, my bro, honestly. Or take your poison, some would say. Waleed just says, and by the way, Robbie and Lee judges wanted Richarlison over Jesus. I remember this at the start of the season. Ask them and they will tell you the video is still up. I think that's when we did
I was actually in that video as well.
I was in that video as well, I believe. No, I wasn't. I couldn't have been if Lee was in it. Wasn't that the one was doing drafts? I'm sure I was the one who was doing the draft videos.
I think so.
Those are draft videos. I don't think Lee.
I don't know.
No, I don't think Lee was in it, but I think they spoke about it. Excuse me.
Oh, Invincibles.
In Invincibles,
Oh, okay,
and they both
okay.
agreed. But it also was in the draft video that we were in. But that's mad. Pigeon, Richard. Imagine. I don't know why he even wanted him. Anyway, because I didn't like Richarlison as a player and everything. I didn't think it'd work anyway.
I think there's a good player in there, but there's also Tottenham in there, so you know, Tottenham can be the downfall of anyone.
And that do you know what? No one can really argue that. Look at the managers that have been there, even the players as well, and look where they're at. Diallo says with a super chat, hot take: Xhaka is top 5 technicians at the club. Technicians, technical ability wise, Martin Odegaard's in there, of course. Jesus is definitely up there, of course. Zinchenko's in there, technical wise. Now it gets a bit tricky.
I'm sorry, but Saka's more technical than Xhaka.
But Saka,
Ben White's more technical as well.
But technical.
Yeah, technical.
They're consistent and keep the ball, but technical ability. Trossard's
a very good shout, yeah.
Very great shout. Sorry, Joshua, thank you. I just stole your link there. There's one more space. No, Partey's not technical wise.
But Partey's more technical than Xhaka, though. You're thinking who we compare. We're not comparing to Pirlo.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what I'm saying. So I think there's a few players there that
I got 4. Okay, that I'm solid on. Even Martinelli. Sorry, I know that Martinelli for me. ESR, yeah, dribbling. Yeah, sorry, I disagree with that. But there, you said a hot take. That is your hot take. If you believe
Odegaard and Zinchenko are clear.
Odegaard is fake.
And sorry, Jesus, Odegaard, Zinchenko. Them 3 are clear technically.
Bro, the things they do with a ball is crazy. Anyway, the angel Don Robbie. Weird name, but thank you very much for the super chat. It says, Sesson Turkish, greetings to you. Celebrate the first super chat from the angel Don Robbie. I don't know how I celebrate that, but that's what YouTube are telling me. Thank you so much and welcome.
You do that Brazilian dance that you did when Jesus signed.
You'll be doing it soon, end of the season, bro.
Bro, I'm a big man.
Get your little maracas, we get the coconut.
I'm a big man, bro.
Yeah?
I'm
a big man too.
Yeah.
When I stand up, I'm a big man.
You're a young man, bro.
I am young, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is your game.
Diallo back with the super chat says, and I won't risk an 80% Saliba. It's a 3 points game. And that was obviously the conversation we had earlier.
Fair enough.
That's all good. Right, sorry, back to where you are. Before we go into, you're going to go into Liverpool, right? I was trying to bring up some quotes that I saw over online. We also had them on the AFTV Instagram. But let's start with Granit Xhaka's quotes on the Liverpool game ahead of it come this weekend. It does say, it does not matter how their season is going, they are always a dangerous team. And at Anfield, a very difficult team to play. I'm now going to move on to Gary Neville's quotes as well, ahead of the Liverpool Arsenal game. Sorry,
but you didn't finish that though. I've got the rest of it here.
Oh, okay.
I think they should have added the rest because it's a very difficult team to play, but we have enough confidence to win there as well. This is what we will try to do, and that's why we are going there. Let's see if we can bring the 3 points back. I think that's very important to add to it.
Yeah, go on. You're right. Thank you for pulling me up on that. I believe. I don't know. I don't
negative, Cecil.
No. I didn't believe that on. Well, I must have left it out on purpose, but I just thought that was.
No, that was further. It was further down. I just put it all together.
The main bit I thought was going to be that, but yeah, no, you are right there. That was good that you include the rest of that because it shows that he, regardless of how difficult they realise how Anfield is, they understand the main duty is to get the 3 points and go there full of confidence and do what they need to do. Gary Neville, a man that doesn't believe Arsenal or Man City will be 15 to 10 points ahead of Arsenal by the end of the season, says, if Arsenal go to Anfield and win, I would definitely say it would be their title. Very interesting, first time we're hearing him say that, because the confidence from that would be unbelievable. He then goes on to say, I kept this bit in, Anfield is a terror of a place to go, but if they lose at Anfield, it becomes a title race.
Who gives a shit what the guy is saying?
You would say that. I knew that would be his response.
No, because you know what it is, yeah? On one hand, like you see how people, like Arsenal fans, they hate Gary Neville, they hate what he's been saying this season. I get that.
Yeah,
but we also have to understand, I come from an era where we was battling it out with a Man United team that had Gary Neville in it. And if I was a pundit, if I was on these channels and I had to speak about Man United, I'd be speaking more about what I believe their flaws are to be and hoping for their downfall more than I would be.
Well, you'd say it was a difficult place to. You'd say going to Old Trafford under the Fergie era and around that time, if you was on a platform, would say that's
under the Fergie era. Yeah,
it's a hard place to go.
Yeah, under the Fergie era. But I'd banter them now.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? So on that side of things, I understand why he is the way he is. We was fierce rivals back in the day.
Yeah, he does what he.
On the other side of things, I don't give a shit what Gary Neville has to say. I haven't given a shit since way back when he called that fan that had the Wenger out sign an idiot.
Yeah, I remember.
Because at the end of the day, he's someone that kissed his badge in front of Liverpool fans, and it's not the same thing, but someone could call you an idiot for that. At the end of the day, there's passion involved, there's love involved, there's emotion involved. You don't care about Arsenal, Gary, you don't love Arsenal, so why do I care what you have to say about Arsenal?
Fair.
At the end of the day, you're a pundit. In my opinion, you was a good pundit. Fallen off a bit. I think when he really, stuck by Ole during the downfall, and he basically said, I'm not going to talk down about my friend. I think that's when his position as a pundit is a bit compromised.
Yeah, fair.
But all in all, I get why he doesn't like us. I understand why he doesn't like us.
Yeah, of course, there's rivalry.
Same reasons I don't like them.
Yeah, of
and
course,
him.
Of course, that makes sense. Okay. I just wanted to bring that up because obviously, just him maybe potentially change it. The reason why I brought that quote in, one, because obviously it's a pundit that many of you probably know, but on top of that as well is the fact that, it goes into that kind of conversation of this is another hurdle before I start to say, you must. Everyone's putting another hurdles. If you go and do it at Anfield, then I'll start to say, okay, it's their title. And I think for us now, I think many fans believe Arsenal can go on and do it, but it's another thing where it's like, it's another hurdle. And I'm sure after this, they might be like, well, let's just wait till you get to City. Wait till you see what you do at City. That's a hard place to go. Then I'll say, if the title's yours, wait till you go to Newcastle, wait till you get to St James's Park. So I just want to highlight that, and it's interesting to see.
Just cancel out the noise, people. Just cancel out the noise.
And do what you say in it, one game at a time.
One game at a time, and let's see where we go.
All right, let's go into what you've got on just quickly, because we are coming towards the end of the hour. But let me see what you've got on Liverpool. I know.
Well, on top of the quotes you've just mentioned, I'm going to bring in Mikel Arteta's, and he said,
lovely.
When he was asked about nerves getting to the players, obviously it being a young squad, he said they just have to enjoy the moment we are in. He said you have oxygen to grab instead of gasping, and we just want that energy and belief. We go to the next target and we go for it. And he's essentially saying one game at a time. He's saying enjoy it. I completely understand why, because we're enjoying it as fans.
Oh, massively.
And
massively.
It is a pressure cooker situation. Now, when you consider how long it's been without a league title, and you consider the stature of Club Arsenal are, and what we really should be doing year in, year out, this young team and young manager has raised the standards back up to a place it should never have left.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. The fans love you. There's a lot of players the fans are connected to. We're connected to the manager. Long may this continue. Players, enjoy it. Play free. And win games.
There's oxygen to grab instead of gasping. That is Mikel got some bars in the locker. I like it a lot. That's a good one. I'm gonna steal that still. Saliba update says Rams. If you missed the Saliba update, obviously it's a lot of smoke and mirrors right now in the tabloids, but you can go back to the start of the show where we do discuss it and speak about it. Liverpool is definitely a difficult place to go. I like that. There is a lot of pressure on the boys, but they are succeeding. Now, when I did like a fan roundup after the Leeds game, and one fan, big him up, Gunnar King, he spoke about, Liverpool should be fearful of us. They should be worried about us, not the other way around. I just want to get your kind of thoughts, the people in the chat's thoughts on that, because I actually agreed with a lot of what he was saying. However, there's that big, paradigm of it. It's Anfield. But Liverpool should they be fearful of us? I don't know, because when United went there, they got absolutely turned up. But for me, what this Arsenal team are doing, Liverpool should be thinking, no, forget, we can rely on it being Anfield. Forget that. They should be like, rah, Arsenal are doing the business consistently. They've got all these threats. We're a bit weak in a lot of these areas. I mean, I love the Martinelli-Trent battle. I love that to pieces, because Martinelli just destroys them every time, and then Klopp goes on press conferences, starts flirting with Martinelli. I love all that. They get battered. But Anfield, you've got the record. It's not great when we go there. But should they be more fearful of us than what we fear of Anfield?
You know what? I think Liverpool are more so looking in the mirror at themselves, both the players and the manager, than looking around everyone else, because the most recent loss against City leaves them 8 points behind 4th place. Yes, they got 2 games in hand on Tottenham, but they're also 8 points behind United in 5th with no games in hand, and they're 8 points behind Newcastle in 3rd with no games in hand. So really and truly, this could be the dagger to end their Champions League hopes this season, even though it was hanging by a thread for a long time anyway. But I think they're in a place.
Have they got Europe right now? Where they're sitting? Liverpool in 8th?
No, 8th. They ain't got Europe at the moment. But they're a point off Brentford, game in hand. They're a point off Brighton. Brighton have a game in hand. So there's still Europa League places up for grabs, potentially Conference League. But that's why I'm saying that they're probably looking more at themselves in the mirror than they would be us. But at the same time, I do think Klopp will try to tell them this is an opportunity to beat the best side in the league at the moment. You know, the most informed, well, I say most informed, we've won 7, City have won 7. I guess City have been unbeaten a bit longer than we have, because, you know, our last loss came to City. But I do think they're in a bit of a place now where you can't really pinpoint the reasons behind how far they've fallen. Yes, they needed midfield players, and I agree with that. But the drop off from going to the last ditch on all 4 fronts last year, nearly getting over the line with a quadruple,
crazy,
to what we've seen now,
crazy,
is such a drop off that midfield reinforcements is not the only answer to that. There's more to it mentally, and there's more to it in terms of hunger and rebuilding, passion. Really, you won a league, you won a Champions League. Is that it now? Because now you just missed out on the quadruple, or you got close to it. Is it over now? Aging players too. So I think, you know, they're going to be focused on us, obviously. And
they're not free falling though, are they? You wouldn't say Liverpool, or would you say they're free falling right now?
I'd say going from quadruple pushing Manchester City to the last game of the season last year to being mid-table for a lot of the season, and currently 8 points, or however many points I just said, off 3rd, 4th and 5th. I think it's a free fall. Wow.
So yeah, you're right. And
look at the way people view us. We went from 5th to leading the title race. We've made a jump of 4 spaces.
Yeah,
they've gone from a point off the league last game of the season, a Champions League final, an FA Cup and League Cup win, to this, where they're getting smacked by Real Madrid at Anfield. In the league, they've been mid-table most of the season. League Cup, I don't know what happened to them in there. Yeah, FA Cup, I can't. They're not in it no more.
They're still in.
Brighton brushed them.
They did.
So that's free fall for me.
I'll be interested to hear what the Liverpool fan has to say on it. Do they feel like they're in free fall? And I see Ken, I know he's a Liverpool fan with his logo in there, says the reason is Klopp has run this team into the ground for the last 5 seasons. I know you do a lot with Liverpool fans. He also says, Ken says, so Turkish, you're saying we're finished? ? That's what Ken.
This cycle is finished, Ken, and there's no divine right that your next cycle will. Listen, you Ken, I don't know how old you are, but unless you're 10 to 15 years of age, you've also seen dark times at Liverpool. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, of course not.
It wasn't that long ago at all.
8 years for a title.
It's all cycles at the end of the day, and this is coming from someone who grew up in a great period, spoiled, to seeing a cycle of pain and upset and anger and frustration, to kind of coming back around to seeing what I'm seeing this season, which, yeah, at the moment it's a one-off season, but it's a season where we've got the youngest manager, youngest team. We've still got holes to fill in the squad, in my opinion. This seems like the start of a new cycle for us, where we'll be challenging it again, winning stuff again. So, you know, I think it's the end of your current cycle.
I think Diaz
is quality. I think Gakpo's, you know, kind of kicked on after an initial settling in period. I think Jota, decent player as well. I think especially against Arsenal, he does his thing. Salah, still productive, not as productive, but as you age, you're not gonna be. I think this cycle, well, the cycle was kind of over anyway. Mane left, Salah and Van Dijk aging. And you can't say 100% that Klopp will create a new cycle that will bring you straight back up there. Am I saying you're finished? No. You're one of the 2 biggest clubs in the country. You still got a massive pull. Jude Bellingham seems to still be interested in the move to Liverpool. So this summer's a big one for Liverpool, in my opinion, because another season like this, another season out of the top 4 next season, then it's going to be difficult turning it around quickly. So I'm not saying you're finished, but I'm saying this cycle is over. Yeah,
you got a backup parachute, in my opinion. I think they're free falling. I think they've got a backup parachute to say that they can still hold on to something this season if they kick on not from Sunday, hopefully, but after that to maybe get into a Europe spot. Depends if, I don't know if that's what Liverpool fans want. I know there was a stage where Arsenal fans wanted to be out of Europe competition so they can just focus on league week in, week out to then rebuild. I don't know where Liverpool fans are in their mindset, if they want that. But yeah, that'll be interesting to know if they believe they're in free fall, or there's an opportunity for them to get a Europe spot, whether that's Europa League or Europa Conference, and that will benefit them. But they definitely need to rebuild. And listen, I know a lot of fans believe in Klopp to do that. Load more super chats. I don't know. Super chats? Can't do them?
How many you got?
3 more. Yeah?
Go on then.
London Nomad with super chat says, this might be looking too far into the future, but do you guys think Arteta will bring us the Champions League trophy, or even change the European football culture? Let me just make sure I got that all right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, what do you believe Arteta can...
Let's win the league first. Yeah. Let's just win this league
first. My brother.
Yeah, let's win the league first.
I'm joking. You see me, yeah? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I never, ever saw this coming from Mikel Arteta. Never. So, I believe, will it happen? Turkish will say, wait to win this first. My thing is, because you can still go and, it's difficult, win the Champions League without winning the league. But yeah, for me, I believe in it now, because, boy, Mikel Arteta's proved me so wrong in the past. But again, this is belief. It doesn't mean anything really. It's just, have to believe that we're going to be up there challenging. And I'd love to see a European trophy in the next, how old am I? Give me at least 5 years, man. Like, I want to be able to maybe have a kid in the world as well and let them experience it as well. Personally, I would like to see some European silverware with my future offspring maybe one day. Waleed with Suja says, do you guys think Liverpool's result against Chelsea tonight will have an effect on Sunday? Now, I was saying this on the Matchday Live. I believe so, yes.
I don't know. I don't.
If they lose again,
that's 3 losses in a row.
Yeah, I just feel like that's just they're gonna have to see a bounce back. And when they're coming home, they're playing. I remember, you got to remember the last games were away. Well, the Man City and the Chelsea game, they're gonna need to get a reaction whilst they're at home. Going to Anfield and needing a reaction doesn't bode well for Arsenal, in my opinion. So if they go on and win at Chelsea, however they do it, I'd prefer that personally. And yeah, I like seeing Chelsea squirm and just drop and Matisse and everything. So yeah, I prefer that to happen, and then we go and beat them on Sunday. That's my personal opinion. Aston, Mac TV, big up Aston. Yeah, we're gonna see you. Always. I keep mentioning it. We're gonna see you over in America at some point. He comes with a super chat and says, everyone fears us, but let's not I guess underestimate them. Liverpool's home form is 3rd best in the league. It's their away form that's been sketchy. But our players have earned our faith and chest. Now, I think you knew about their home form. I'm sure you
only lost 1 at home. Leeds last minute. They've lost 8 away. It's their away form that's let them down.
Mad.
So you can't underestimate them for sure.
Definitely not. Elijah Reyes back with that says, Turkish. This is for you. How long would you celebrate the title before getting the team back in training for the new season if you were the manager?
How long do they usually have off?
Nowadays, I think it depends. The same with like the World Cup. The Argentinian side gave their players, I think, like 3 weeks, maybe even a month. I think they extended it. I think they had about a month off. When it comes to Premier League titles, I don't know. It's been a while since Arsenal have won one I've known about.
The season ends last weekend of May.
Okay, to do it as a pre-season, think about it, yeah? Last week of May, they're doing their DC game on the 13th of, I think, July?
Yeah, I'll give them June.
The whole of June?
Yeah, take June. Go enjoy yourself. If you want to come back earlier, come back earlier. No problem at all. But listen, you've done your thing.
Yeah, because we're taking up. We've basically taken the whole of June. We take the whole of June. Give them the whole of June.
Listen, they're footballers. They're paid well, but at the same time, in the season, they don't get many breaks. So, if you go win the league and you raise that standard back to that level, go take a month, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, man, go take a month. I wish I could give them more, but with the season starting beginning of August, it's like,
you got to prep.
You got more work to do.
Yeah. Turkish has also said a month because he would be celebrating as well for that amount of time as well, maybe even longer. Imagine if he was the manager and he just won a Premier League title for Arsenal. You ain't coming back for after the month. You're saying blood. Do you not just see what man just done?
I'd want time to stop. I can't even lie. We won the league. 19 years with Cecil.
Yeah, it's mad, bro. Wait, hold on. Did you say with Cecil?
What?
What did you say? Oh, he said 19 years with Cecil. He used to say 19 years since we won the title. I thought he was just getting at me then. I was like, ouch. 19 years since we won it. Yeah, bro. You wouldn't be able to get a pause. That's the thing as a manager. You wouldn't be able to get a stop because you got to start. Knowing Arteta as well, he'd be thinking about the next season. But you're right. If we were in charge, boy, I would want to give it to someone else. Let them just manage the team for a bit. Let me enjoy myself and then come back.
Yes, yeah.
It'll be mad. Hit with a super chat says, Hit44 says, can't believe we lost Saliba to the Europa League. Oh, ouch. I don't know if I say ouch now.
The way it's put like that is mad.
It's mad. It is mad because I was so angry that we went out.
I'm gonna remember that quote if we lose to Liverpool in a bad way. Because right now I'm still optimistic, and we've won both games since he's been injured. So I don't want to remember that quote next week. So let's move.
Okay, let's move on because I did that. Well.
Oh, we're going to wrap it up now.
Yeah. We're here.
Past 6 p.m. How many we got? 2.4k in the building. Listen, people, hope you enjoyed the show. Hit the like button. We haven't even hit 500 likes yet. You know what to do, people. You know what to ask. Let's get as close to 1,000 as possible. I don't understand how we're not at 1,000. Have people got no fingers or what? It's just scroll down. You click the like button. You move up. We're still here. We don't go anywhere. But we're about to go somewhere because it is the end of the show. Keep tuned in here because a lot of content will be coming out throughout the week. Me, Robbie and James are headed to Anfield tomorrow to record some content, box to box and other bits and pieces. Cecil will be here on the live tomorrow, as well as a couple specials he's doing this week. Forever Arsenal was out tomorrow. Tactical Insight was out last night. There's everything you need right here, people. Make sure you're subscribed. Put the notification bell on. Cecil, love my bro.
It's been a pleasure, bro.
And love for the love, people. We're out. Peace.
Come join us for the Tactical Insight Show right here on AFTV where we break down the 4-1 win against Leeds.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at how Arsenal did break down a very resilient Leeds team on Saturday. We'll also be looking at the two key midfielders in the two teams battling for the Premier League this season, Martin Odegaard and De Bruyne. Some interesting stats there. There'll be a few Tottenham stats thrown in inevitably, and also the wonderful performance of Gabriel Jesus. Look out for the way we break down his performance.
Come join us.